One of the things that we have is that we have a myriad of curriculums. Each state has got its own state board, and then there is a CBSE, there's an ICSE, there are IB, IGSE kind of curriculums coming across. And how does a school look at this entire complicated scenario in the right way? Now, I have seen at least many of our funded schools actually moving from one curriculum to another in the hope that, okay, the new move will bring in a better quality of education for their students. Is it really so easy? Why should we move? Should we at all move? And if we have to move, what is the right way to move? What are the challenges that the school has to go through in order to make sure that the change in curriculum becomes a meaningful one and a profitable one for the students as well as for the institution? These are some of the questions that come to my mind. And I want to ask Rohan sir that, your own group of institutions, you started with SSC. Sometime, during the course of the journey, you moved from SSC to ICSC. Now you opened up another option for the students in terms of the IB part. Is it really necessary? And if you have gone through that, how did you go through it to make sure that there is you are basically taking care of all the pitfalls which associated with this kind of a change?
Okay, so this change has not been very voluntary, I could say. It's basically the first change, especially from the state board to the ICSE board, was more of public aspiration rather than the school's aspiration or management's aspiration. We as a school always tell our parents, don't look at schools by way of looking at the board. Look at the school as a good school, bad school. There is nothing called a good board or a bad board. There is either a good school or there is a bad school. So you have to stop looking at things like that. How you select a school is what we talk to them about, and not usually our orientations are about what do you want exactly from the school and what is your financial capabilities. What would you like to do? It has to be based on that and not on the board of the school. You may be having a fantastic board with a fantastic curriculum and have the very poor teachers. It doesn't make any difference then. So basically, that is what we have been propagating, and that's why we were happy as we were. Because for us, you have to understand that boards give you the curriculum, the content which you have to teach. It gives you the way the assessments are going to happen for that particular board. It doesn't tell you how to teach. That's completely left to the school, whichever board you follow. You can follow the IB board and then you can teach the way you teach your state board school. And it would be a disaster, of course. So that's not how it goes. So taking a call, it was more of public aspiration that people wanted the change to happen. We tried to educate people, telling them, see, don't worry about the board. We are in sync with the latest methodologies, but that pressure was there. And sometimes it's always best to bend to public pressure, I would say. Unless, of course, it's a matter of principles. So here, there was nothing like that. It's okay. We knew that there are certain things as a state board we can't do because we have a class of 60, 65, even 70 sometimes. So there are certain pedagogies, certain methodologies that cannot be done in a state board's classroom, though you may know about it and you would want to do about it, like doing a practical or doing a discussion. It's very difficult in a class of 70. It is easier in a class of 40 and it is ideal in a class of 20. But that's then the economics comes into play. What is your clientele? What is your geography around you? What is the paying capability of the people? So it's not a one dimensional decision that comes into play. So we changed because of that. As far as the advising people on that is, I would only say is that you have to be clear about what is your vision. There is nothing right or wrong in that. If your vision is to educate the most poorest of the people around, it's okay for you to run a state board school, because you can't keep on financing maybe to that extent where you have a ICSE board and then you cannot pay the teachers. So you can't get into such a situation. So as long as your vision is clear, it is okay whether it is you want to open a IB board, you want to give high quality education, and if you feel that your vision is providing that through IB, it's okay. Now, opening the IB section in our school for the IBCB program was a totally different reason. That was management driven and not aspiration of the parents or anybody. We were looking at working further with the teaching methodologies and pedagogies, like what else enhancements can happen. Even before the NEP came, we were looking at change of methodology in the pre-primary section to make it more friendly, more enjoyable. So we were already in 2017, I think, or 18, somewhere around that time, we were already inviting pre-primary heads or the primary heads to discuss with our staff members to understand what is the way you teach and what is the way I teach. What can I do better? So we had already started working. So we had an idea of IB education even before the pandemic started. So we were already working on it. The pandemic came, it uprooted and made disrupted the entire system. And during that time, we overhauled the pre-primary education completely, and also to extend the primary education, because we got that time to actually exclusively work on it. Then came the NEP in 2020. So when we read the NEP document and we already had some idea about the IB, we realized that NEP is telling nothing but to do what IB has already done. So basically, the ideal kind of education system that should be running. That's how education should happen in the classroom. So by coincidence, can say we had our ex-student coming to school. He is also doing running the CP program for the IB, and he pushed us into starting the IBCP, and we thought that we could learn a lot, because then we are practically doing it on a day-to-day basis, and that learning is now today helping us, because we are that percolation which we wanted to happen has happened. So that's how. And as far as people giving a advice to people about how to move about to this, I would say don't abruptly change things. You have to be ready for things. If you are running a state board school and you want to run a ICSE school or a CBSE school, first and foremost, your teachers have to be ready. And you have to be clear in your mind that it is not board is not changing your content. The content would basically remain the same, give or take 15, 20, 10, 15% here or there. What is going to change is the examination system, and the examination system changes the way you teach. So are your teachers ready for it? So you first start working on the teachers first and then think of changing the board is would my advice to people. So of course it has got financial implications. You are running with 60, 70 students with a certain amount of X number of fees. You feel that you are going to get more fees, but you remember that you're going to get less students. You can't exceed 40. So in the CBSE or the ICSE. So finance is going to be affected. So it is not going to be a big change in it. If the paying capacity of around you is only X, it is going to remain X. Just because you want it to be X square, it doesn't work like that. So that is how it should be. It has to be, the transition has to be simple. It should not deprive children who cannot afford that new fees of education. That's how we went about. We changed only the nursery admission. From junior KG onwards, we gave people the option. You can either come here or you can come here. We gave our word that till your child passes out of the state board 10th standard, you will get the senior most teachers in the school. We will not compromise on that, whatever happens. And we stuck to our words. We never had a single parent coming and complaining that you have put our children in trouble, you have given us bad teachers. The same senior most teachers were the last ones to transit to the ICSE board. The junior most teachers were the trained first. They were the ones who took up the ICSE board, and that is how the transition happened very smoothly without affecting anybody. It took a lot of time, and ICSE board, we openly told them, say, I can't close this overnight. They said, you can't run two boards. No, I'm not asking you to run two boards. I'm asking you for time. So they said, okay, give us an undertaking that you will close it down. I say, okay, I'm fine. This is the phase, and on so and so year, everything will close down.
Phase withdrawal.
Phase withdrawal will happen.
Correct.
No one affected, staff well trained, well prepared. So the senior most staff, of course, find the most difficult to change because they are used to certain way of teaching. We kept on training them. They started taking, in fact, the junior classes, they were happy with that. They were okay with that. But I don't want to teach 10 standards suddenly. I'll go through the pace and I'll go back there because they have the knowledge. It's only the methodology that changes.
I think
So it's
such a
very smooth process.
Yeah. Such an important way that you mentioned, you're making the process entirely smooth. It actually creates a certain factor of trust in the school
Exactly.
and helps to manage the perception of what the school is all about.